The final speaker tonight, Fidelma said I loved all the speakers, and I do. I kind of have to say it about this guy though, because while I'm on leave of absence at the moment, he's been my boss for the last 10 years, so I better be nice about him. I will say this, that he is somebody, in my experience, who there's no job he won't do himself. You know, he's been very successful, he's built companies over the years, and yet for the last couple of weeks he's been out climbing up ladders, putting up no posters around Roscommon. That's the kind of guy he is. He's hands-on, he's a fighter, he's somebody who is you know, absolutely inspiring, and that's why we kept him to last. I want you to listen to him very carefully. Mr. Declan Ganley.
Thank you, John. Great to be in Mayo. You know, John said I've been in business and I built some businesses and whatnot, and listening to this fantastic panel of really inspiring speakers here tonight, thank you so much. And I just want to say that not all socialists are wrong. I mean, Pather is proof of that here tonight. What struck me is a few things in terms of what we're up against here, because it is unbelievable, as the doctor was saying, that we're even having this debate. It's surreal. It's otherworldly. So we have to clear a few things up. We have to know what it is that we're fighting and why we're fighting this battle. Why are we in this place? And I believe in science, I believe in technology. I've got more than 40 patents to my own name, technology patents. I know what DNA is. I've studied it. I'm not a scientist, I'm an entrepreneur, but it's very interesting. And I know what it does. It irrefusably marks every single one of you as a unique human individual, never to be repeated again. In 10,000 years, if there's any part of you that remains in a grave somewhere or wherever it may be, and there are archaeologists digging you up or digging me up, and they find a bit of something belonging to us, they can test it for DNA, and if the DNA survives, they will be able to know it came from you, or you, or you. Nobody else. And every child conceived, and I use that word child very deliberately, every child conceived is a unique human individual, never to be repeated again. And how do we know that? Because science proves it. How does it prove it? It proves it through DNA. So I have something to say to people that don't want to recognize the humanity, the human individuality of every pre-born girl and boy in this country. You don't believe in science, and if you don't believe in science, you're an idiot. You can call the pre-born boy or girl a fetus. That doesn't make them not a unique human individual. You are being wantonly stupid if you deny their human individuality. So let's call that settled science. We already know that. Somebody that's saying this isn't a baby, that this isn't a boy or a girl, is an idiot. Or they are being willfully ignorant. I'm not going to be nice about them. You're either being willfully ignorant if you're denying the humanity, or you're an idiot. You're one or the other. Pick one. Now, the other thing I wanted to say, and it always strikes me coming to Mayo, and it struck me, I speak here with a Watford accent. My mother's from Deweyga in Achill Island. And I'm very proud of my Achill roots and my heritage and my family in Achill Island. And when I came over here as a kid from England for my holidays to spend it with my grandparents down in Duiga, and we'd come into Mayo and everything else, and my mother would tell us the stories of, we'd come through Castlebar and she'd tell us about the races of Castlebar, about the French landing, about driving the redcoats out of this town. She'd tell us about the priest hunters searching the lofts during the penal laws. Showed us where the Mass Rock was in Duiga. It's between Duiga and Ashland, along what's now called the Atlantic Drive, by what used to be called the Horseshoe Bridge. All of those things. And then I think of that great man that stood so many times in this town, Michael Davitt, and he knew something. He knew something that Pearce knew. He knew something that Daniel O'Connell knew. Ireland is different. It is different. Those men and women that went into the GPO in 1916, those people that were put up against a wall in Kilmainham jail and were shot, they knew Ireland is different. It is different. And I'll tell you who else knows Ireland is different. Somebody called Julie Kay. She knows Ireland is different. Julie Kay was a lawyer for Planned Parenthood. An oxymoron if I ever heard one. Planned Parenthood is an abortion factory in America that has killed millions of unborn children across America, that sets up abortion mills in black neighborhoods, so that, as an earlier speaker said, in New York State, where my wife comes from, more than half of African American children are killed in the womb before they're even born. Julie Kay knows that Ireland is different. You know how I know? Because she said so. Julie Kay called Ireland, what did she call Ireland? She called Ireland the jewel in the crown of the global pro-life movement. The jewel in the crown. Think about that. And you know what? She's right. Ireland is the jewel in the crown of the pro-life movement globally, and it's the jewel in the crown of human rights globally, because the human rights issue of our time is the right of the preborn boys and girls to be born. We are the jewel in the crown, and Julie Kay and George Soros and the international pro-abortion movement want to take that jewel away. They want to snuff the light out, because our Constitution is a thorn in their side, because it points to the humanity of the unborn, and it says these are people too. And what are we being asked to do? With this great gate, this shield, this protection, this walled garden called the Eighth Amendment. And who does it protect? It protects our mothers, and it protects our unborn children. And Julie Kay can't stand it. And George Soros can't stand it. They want to smash down that gate, strip away the only protection that these unborn children have, which is the Eighth Amendment. And you know how we know that? Because our Supreme Court said so. It's the only thing standing between our unborn children and these predators. Because that's what they are. They are predators. And what do you do if you vote yes? I'll tell you what you do. You're not passing off, you're not being Pontius Pilate, You're not passing on this decision because you can't make that decision for somebody else. Oh, I couldn't make that decision for a person in that position. You are making a decision. You're making a decision to batter down that gate so that those predators can get at children's rights and our preborn children's lives. Every yes vote cast in this referendum is a swing of the battering ram against that gate from the inside. Every single yes vote is a swing of that battering ram. And every no vote is a shoulder against propping up that gate. You put yourself and your vote between those predators and our preborn children. This is a war. And when I canvass and I talk to people, I say to them, you know, we're all being asked to be jurors here. You are being a juror when you vote in this referendum. And it's a life or death issue. Are you going to confer life or death? That's the question we're being asked. We've actually probably never been asked a graver question in the history of this state. Because I'll tell you, for me, there's no more important issue than this. It starts and finishes right here with this issue. Because if we can't defend the unborn, what use are we for anything? They are the most defenseless. And of course, wishy-washy politicians, and we don't have any in this room tonight. I honest to God, I don't know how you do it. I really don't. God almighty, imagine being up there with that shower. This way one day, that way the other. You know what they are? They're useful idiots. They're useful idiots for Julie Kay and George Soros. That's what they are. They are complicit, useful idiots. And it seems that it's hard for politicians with real integrity and real belief, and we have them here on this stage and in this room tonight, to get ahead when you're not willing to blow any way with the wind in any way that it goes. We need heroes back in this country again, and a real hero is somebody like these people here who will stand up and be unpopular and face down the media and face down political leaders and stand for the rights of the unborn. Yes, as the Irish Times will say, there were more than 60 people here this evening. That'll be tomorrow. Look, you already know where the media stand on this Egypt. They are the main pro-abortion campaigners in this country. The leading campaign has been for years the media editorial bias in this country. It's why we're having this debate, because they want to help Julie Kay get her wish, to steal the jewel out of Ireland's crown, which is our human rights recognition of the preborn rights. So listen, you've been a wonderful group of people. You've already been asked to get stuck in. You all need to go out and canvass, everyone. Fix posters, leaflets, talk to your friends, get more people involved. Because our country's never faced a more important fight than this one. And you are like those men and women in the GPO. You won't be lauded like they rightfully were. But what you're doing is absolutely as important as what they did in 1916. What you are doing is absolutely as important. You are being as heroic. And the thing is, nobody's going to write songs about you after this is over. and the people whose lives you are going to save may never know that you were responsible for saving them. This is a defining moment for Ireland. Are we going to stay different? Because that difference is great. It's what makes Ireland great. And you are what stands between those predators and our unborn children. It's going to be down to you and other people like you around this country. So get stuck in, put a sticker on your car. If you haven't got one on your car, put it on. Join the canvasses. Donate to this campaign and the other campaigns until it hurts. Empty the old teapot. Make sure until the paper clips fall out. Because we have to win this fight. And I'll tell you this from being out on this canvas. This is winnable. It's not a slam dunk. These polls, 2 nights ago I looked at the polls from Lisbon 1, where I was on the no side. I was on the no side in Lisbon 2 as well. But in Lisbon 1 I was on the no side and I looked at the polls. And at this exact point in the campaign, the no side was much further behind and the yes side was a lot further ahead than is the case now in this race. This is winnable. And with your work, your input, your money, you putting your stickers on your car, you getting stuck in to convince all of those around you that this is something that we have to do, we will send a message to the world, a message that we are entering a new dawn of history, a new era, an era when it will be safe to be a child in the womb, not just in Ireland, but all over the world. Good night, God bless you, and God save Ireland.